X-Men 97. I think it's safe to say that a lot of people were very skeptical at the best, you know? It's not really difficult to understand why people were. There's been no shortage of recent franchises and properties that have gotten the revivals or they're brought back, adaptations, etc. that seemed like they were promising at first, but then they turn out to be duds. Especially when it comes from Marvel and Disney as a whole. You know, no shortage of examples, depending on who you ask. That's always, the same thing. A couple episodes, maybe just the first episode, it's all looking good, then something happens, and then by the end of it, it becomes a total dumpster fire, and everyone's clowning on it. Sometimes, you have people who jump into just dumping on it, like pre-firing it, just because of history and just muscle memory. And it seemed like people were kind of doing the same to this. It's just what it is. I was worried too. There were some things that were a bit odd at the time. Some character designs, some comments made by various people in front who were running the show, the current state of other things. And I was waiting for that shoe to drop, even as the show went on. But then I found something out. The shoe did not drop. In fact, the show was good. And why was that? Why was it good? It was good because the main guy, Bo DeMeo, seemed to give a damn about the show. Give a damn about the characters. Because I was expecting maybe a terrible animation, like badly written stories. Maybe they'd make characters unlikable, demean them. Some characters would get thrown down just so others can be propped up artificially. But they weren't. And whenever there was some, a political undertone or whatnot, which, X-Men's definitely got some history of doing that. When they do it, it's not like beating you over the head with a stick. It's very, thoughtful, very thinking. You're just like, oh, okay, it makes you think. And beyond that, it's also like you enjoy the show for the characters and the stories they go on. I enjoyed it. I was very relieved to it. It felt respectful to its material and to the show. And even when there had to be changes, because obviously some stuff had to get a little tweaked here or there. You understood why they did it, and as someone else said that it's like X-Men's greatest hits, that's what it is through this particular show. They go through a lot of various storylines from the X-Men comics and go through it in this one. You have Genosha, you have the Inferno arc with Goblin Queen. We throw in a little bit of Cable. We throw in Storm's storyline with her powers. We got a little bit of stuff with Sebastian. It's so very... the way they handled it was so interesting to me. I was... honestly, this review so far is just me being shocked that the show from Marvel these days was actually good from start to finish. I suppose let's get out the few quick negatives, I suppose. So, I would say these were technically be more nitpicks, I'd say there are certain storylines that kind of go a little too quick in the grand scheme of things. Right in the early bits of the season, because they really kick off the Goblin Queen arc real quick, and it ends just a little too soon, but that's just a nitpick of mine. And then at the very end of the finale, they have a part where there's been some established threads that happened in the last couple episodes that don't quite get addressed. Mostly that's because of the main plot has to kind of take over real quick, and you can't really do everything all at once. So I hope that's something they do in Season 2. Yes, there's a Season 2. It was already confirmed before this even aired. I believe they're planning on a Season 3 after that. We'll see how that goes. But for now, Season 1 of X-Men 97 was quite interesting. The animation I wasn't too sure on, and in the early episodes, I noticed something kind of odd. Whenever I see in the trailers or the clips, they felt very edited out. The way that it was edited, the frame rate was just strange. But when you get to the actual final product, the episodes run more smoother. The fight scenes are really good. They're nice and stylized. You can see stuff. Now, I understand that whenever they're not fighting, it's mostly just kind of talking heads. And I understand that's something that not everybody can go for. I don't have too much of a big problem for that, but that's just me. I understand that's not a thing everyone else is for. But yeah, there's good fight scenes. There's a lot of good, interesting character moments. And one of the big surprises is it actually makes it brings Cyclops back up to a respectable status. He's getting his due. He's being treated pretty well. He's being hailed as a competent leader, devoted father and loving husband, And and I'll admit, I wasn't always a big Cyclops fan. I kind of understood he had a purpose. You need a Boy Scout, goody two-shoe type character to, run things. And, you have him contrast with characters like Wolverine and whatnot, But in this show, I actually really quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed Cyclops. I quite enjoyed his story and his history. And when he, goes through bad times, I felt it with him. I was like, damn, that sucks, man. I'm sorry, man. And it's kind of like that for the other characters. It's when characters do things, unlike in other shows, say if they do something that's horrendously bad, they'll try to lampshade and say oh no, it's fine, you did what you had to do, or it's fine, or whatever, excuse it. Here it's when they do something bad, they don't just sweep it under the rug. They say multiple times, this is not a thing you should have done. With let's go with Magneto. Magneto does a terrible event near the end of the show, and multiple times it is established that what Magneto does at this particular point in the show is a bad thing, and it is a costly event that needs to be solved immediately. Other times they would never acknowledge it, never mention it, in other shows of a similar caliber, because they want you to sympathize with said character, or there's a flaw in the writer's morality. But here, it is very clear cut. You understand it. The villains are villains, good guys are good guys. Whenever a character does something, you understand what they're doing, even if it's something you just don't like. As for voice acting, they definitely got a couple of the OG casts in there, like Cal Dodd for Wolverine, and I forget her name, the actress who plays Storm, and Hank McCoy's actor. They do pretty well. I mean, obviously with sometimes with Cal Dodd, you can obviously tell because the guy's rocking a good, I don't know, I think 60 or 80. So you kind of hear the age. And there was one specific scene where he sounded like a pirate, and I could not unhear that for the life of me. But that's just a little thing, you know. They had some other actors pop in to take over some of these other roles, and they do a pretty good job. I mean, they had Jennifer Hale as Jean Grey, and Goblin Queen, you know, does really good. I forget the voice actor for Scott Summers. I know I heard him in, like, I know he played Leon in the Resident Evil games and movies, like RE6 Leon, you know. Now, I think they had, I forget his name, Ross Marquardt. I believe they had him voice. Yeah, he was voicing Magneto, and he's a really good voice actor, you know, because he can do really good impressions of a lot of people, you know, but yeah, the voice acting was pretty good. As for, like, characters, it doesn't ever feel like it's a one-man show. Most characters kind of get a little bit of a thing in there. Maybe, like, a character like Morph, you know, is more comic relief, kind of in the background, and is really good for, like, Cameo Fest, because Shapeshifter, you can do anything with that, and Morph shapeshifts into a lot of different characters, a lot of X-Men villains, X-Men heroes, even a couple of, like, other Marvel characters, you know, so it's kind of like a nice little key jingling thing, you know, not to say they don't have other moments of key jingling, but they're not, like, blatant, they're just like fun little key jingling moments that it's like, okay, that makes sense, you know, when it's like, oh, you see this other character, oh, you see that character over there, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, especially when you factor in that this is the Marvel animated universe, you know, I'm talking like 90s Spider-Man, I think it was Invincible Iron Man, that's what they called it, and, you know, the 90s Hulk and the Fantastic Four, like, all those shows are in the same, you know, world, shockingly. And you know, those characters do pop up in, like, little snippets, little cameos here and there. Nothing that overtakes the X-Men, obviously, because this is an X-Men show through and through. God, I don't know what to say. I'm trying not to spoil this, because this is a show that I genuinely think people should give it a chance. Or at least, if you want to try it out, go and try it out. You know, I think that this is an actual good show, that I think people, if you want to try to give it a chance, go watch it. If not, because of how you felt about other Marvel shows and movies and etc., and maybe you just don't want to get invested because you don't want to get burned, I understand that, and that's totally fine. My 2 cents is, I came into this thinking that it might have been another bad dud, but it was not. It was actually a genuine good show with a respect to the characters and to the stories. You know, it does a lot of the X-Men's greatest hits, you know, albeit maybe some are a little fast-tracked. Pacing can be a little bit iffy on 1 or 2 episodes because they gotta speed through some of this stuff. But it is very, very well handled. A lot of the characters are great. I know that Rogue, the design was like, it took her butt. That's kind of sad, you know. But beyond that, the animation style and the quality is pretty decent. And I did not see anything disrespectful to any of these characters, you know. Now, obviously I know that maybe in Season 2 or in Season 3 it could turn bad. Don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm definitely going to be there to see how it goes. If you're going to be along there with me, we'll find out. But overall, I feel that X-Men 97 is a show that I think you should give a shot to watch if you feel like it. However you're going to watch it is however you're going to watch it. I know that I watched it through certain means, but let's not get into that. But yeah, that's all I have to say on X-Men 97. That's just my rambling little review-ish there. What are your thoughts on X-Men 97? If you've seen it, let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what other things within the superhero realm you want me to cover next. I will definitely give it a watch and check that out. With that said, I'd like to thank you all for coming along on this little adventure. Thank you. Hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.